What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here with your extra cheese on a Wednesday. Packers fans around the world undoubtedly hanging on every word uttered by one Aaron Charles Rodgers in his interview with Pat McAfee just a little bit ago. It's still ongoing, but they're seemingly wrapping up, and I'm sure there will be a lot of reaction to this interview. But I just wanted to come on and talk to Packers fans worldwide about how they're feeling about the beginning of the end of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. And I think he was pretty straightforward from everything I just saw and heard and absorbed, uh, going all the way back to when Jordan Love was drafted and referencing his uh, summer of discontent. What I saw was a man who was wrestling with the big change, the big transition. Clearly, I know everyone will parse the timeline as far as going into the darkness retreat, the conversation he allegedly had with the Packers that week after the season was over, and how he was 90% retired, and then coming out of that retreat, and suddenly the tone and the things around the Packers shifting. I would just remind everyone that there are two sides to every story. Sometimes people say there are three, the one side, the other side, and the truth is in the middle. I do not doubt for a moment that Rodgers probably was a bit surprised coming out of that retreat, but do not think it's a surprise that the Packers are ready to move on. They've certainly made that very, very apparent. Will say I did appreciate Rodgers and everything he said about the organization in regards to the history and his history with the team, everything the team and the town means to him. Turning this page is a very real prospect suddenly, and I think a lot of people are going to be kind of coming to grips with something that maybe they weren't ready for, including Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be a big change. A very, very constant in a lot of people's lives is about to be very different and about to be upended. So, I again, nothing but appreciation, gratitude, and love, to quote the man himself, for everything that Aaron Rodgers has done in a Packers uniform. Obviously, he's not yet officially a member of the New York Jet. There is the matter of compensation. Going to be fascinating to see how that ends up as far as what the Packers will be able to get out of the New York Jets. I have to think this conversation from Aaron probably, just a little bit kind of tilted the leverage, seesaw towards the Packers. It's very clear he wants to play. It's very clear he's ready to go to the Jets. The Jets got to make this happen. They've already hired Nathaniel Hackett and signed Alan Lazard and possibly bringing in Randall Cobb or Big Dog. Clearly, the wheels are in motion for Aaron Rodgers to land in New York. The New York Jets are going to have to pony up if they ultimately want to make that happen. So teams have until, 4 o'clock this afternoon Eastern time before the beginning of the new league year. We've had kind of battling source off between Schefter and NFL Network regarding what is going on behind closed doors. Schefter saying the Packers are starting with wanting 2 first-round picks, and then clearly a pro-Packers leak, or the Packers leak themselves. Oh, they're not asking for 2 first-round picks, etc. I will be absolutely shocked if the Packers end up with 2 first-round picks, but we shall see. Good to see everybody in the comment section. It's not about me. It's about you fine folks, Packers fans worldwide. How are we feeling out there, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're all doing well. Let's start with Portmaster. Long time no see, Portmaster. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for the super chat. I'm sad, but at the same time, also looking forward to the future. Exciting next step for the organization, and happy for Jordan Love. I think that's really well put. And I will say also shout out to Aaron Rodgers for his words about Jordan Love. He has been nothing but complimentary of Jordan throughout his entire time in Green Bay. Since the moment Jordan was drafted, Aaron has been excellent about Jordan Love. So, and that's both publicly and from what I hear behind the scenes. So I don't believe the praise and everything he talks about when it comes to Jordan. I don't think that's just for the camera. I don't think that's just for the microphones. I think that's genuine, and I truly appreciate it. Jano, thanks for the super chat. It will be interesting to see if Aaron Rodgers shows up for OTAs with his new team. His overall commitment lacked last year with the team in the offseason. I mean, I understand that perception. And I know it certainly feels like the Packers came to that conclusion. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if he doesn't show up for OTAs with the Jets, given that he's in an entirely new situation, building a brand new offense, as opposed to where he was in Green Bay with an offense that he had helped construct for the last 4 years with Matt, or 3 years with Matt. and company. But we'll see. We'll see. Wouldn't actually, I guess, wouldn't surprise me either way. But I do suspect he'll show up. David, touching on a hot topic from Rodgers' appearance on Pat McAfee. No, Bart Starr is the best player, then Don Hudson. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it speaks to a man who's confident when he says, I am the best player this organization has ever had, or at least in the conversation, which is what Aaron Rodgers said. I'm going to give that honor to Bart Starr always, but Aaron's absolutely correct when he says he's in the conversation. There's zero doubt about it. The man knows who he is. Can't deny that. No question about it. Curly Bill, thank you for the super chat. Congrats to Goot for getting value for a retiree. I mean, those are the words from the man himself. He was 90% retired. Good luck with that commitment level there in New York. John Simitovich, thanks for the super chat. Would love to hear the Packers front office view of this. Doubt we will, though. People all over the world join in and start a love train. I don't think we'll ever get much out of the Packers as far as their side of these entire proceedings, but we'll see. Lance, that's an outstanding super chat. Thoughts? So many thoughts, Lance. So many thoughts, most of which will come tumbling out of me throughout the day. I have zero doubt. Grimy says, sure hope Jordan is ready. He's ready to play. There's zero doubt about that. There are going to be bumps along the road. It won't always be pretty. But the kid has got to start playing. Just keep developing. He has developed through the last 3 years, but he's reached that point where it's time for him to be on the football field every week. And the Packers seem to know that. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Hot take, Jordan Love greater than the 2022-23 Aaron Rodgers. That's a pretty damn hot take. We'll see. We'll see how he runs the offense. I suspect it's going to be a little tougher than people maybe think. I understand people being excited. Jordan looked outstanding this summer, and he looked very promising and competent in his time there against Philadelphia when Aaron left with injuries. But it's a whole nother world between coming in against Philadelphia, protecting a 2-score lead and playing a certain style of defense, to being the regular starter and teams taking what they see on film and crafting an entire game plan around what it is you do and don't do, and doing that every single week for 50, 60, 70 plays a game. And I'm not saying Jordan's not going to be good. I do think he is going to be good. I think he's ready to play, but he is going to take his lumps. Defensive coordinators are going to get after him. Don't ever forget his first start against Kansas City. You know, I'm not saying that teams are going to go out there and do the Spagnola and they're going to just blitz the hell out of him. It's not going to be engage 8 every week, but that's certainly not something he saw against the Eagles, a team that was protecting a lead. It's very different than when people are ready to dial up some pressure on you each and every down. There are going to be growing pains, no doubt about it. Nobot, what's up, man? I'll always be grateful for what Rodgers has done in a Packers uniform, but I'm excited to see what the love train does. Right there with you, man. Matt, thank you for the super chat. The dude abides. Thank you, 12. Right there with you, man. Fantastic. David, thank you for the super chat. The song is Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. How much damage does Aaron's contract do to the future? Well, yeah, the immediate future is where the most damage will be done. When they trade, whenever they end up officially trading Aaron Rodgers, they will be given a cap hit, hurt but good. They will see a significant cap decrease. But after next year, they'll be out from under it. So in that sense, the pain is immediate, but it shouldn't be lasting. And that's one of the reasons they needed to probably, maybe not expedite it this offseason, but they needed to try and make it happen this offseason, because it only gets worse next offseason with that contract and exponentially worse the year after that. So it does feel like the Packers did kind of draw this contract up knowing that there was, a good chance that they would be moving on this offseason. Christopher, thanks for the super sticker. Thanks. Scratcher King, thanks for the super chat. I'm going to miss Aaron Rodgers 12. I think a lot of people are, man. This is certainly not a celebratory day. It is, as Aaron himself said repeatedly on that McAfee program, it's bittersweet. It's very bittersweet. No question about it. Jano, thanks again. Need to tell the Packer Stadium to play Love Train song this year in the stadium. Oh, I'm sure there are going to be all sorts of love puns and love songs and all sorts of love references throughout Lambeau. Zero question about it. Soder, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. He was always a pain, but while he was a Packer, he was my pain. We'll start caring about him again when he retires. That's fair. That's fair. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I hear what you're saying. I will say, though, it is funny because I know people would attack me during games on Twitter because I would get frustrated with Aaron. But then during like the week when opposing fans go after Aaron, I would defend him to the hilt. And people would always be like, "Well, why are you so frustrated with him during games?" I'm like, because it's like he's like I always say he's like my brother, right? Like you can be so frustrated with your family member, but anyone else comes after them, I've got their back each and every time. And yeah, as a member of the Green Bay Packers, that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers was. He was a family member. Mario, thanks for the super chat. Love season. Let's go. I think Jordan will surprise some people. Hope people, Packer fans, give him the chance he deserves. Yeah, I think he will. I think especially outside of Packer fandom. I think most Packers fans are cautiously optimistic about what they're going to see from Jordan Love as a starter. But yeah, there's zero doubt that I do think the NFL world as a whole is probably pretty blind to how good this kid can be. What else we got here? We got M. What's up, man? I've been rooting for this moment. Now I feel nothing but gratitude for having had Rodgers in Green Bay. Let's turn the page to Jordan Love. Always go, Pack, go. Fine sentiment. Absolutely. Socks, thanks for the super chat. Dude, I'm just glad this is nearing the end. I'll be forever thankful for watching such an incredible talent such as 12. Now let's get some picks and see what this kid Love can do. Go, Pack, go. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what the compensation ends up being, especially after this appearance today. I mean, point blank, right there, said it. He's ready to go. It's all about what the trade parameters are going to be. What is that going to end up looking like? I can't wait. Mackenzie, thank you for the super chat. Think Goot will add more pieces now that this guy's at the helm, that his guy's at the helm, or just normal as usual? Love your content. Thanks for all you do for us Packers fans. Thank you. Well, it's going to be tough this year. I do think, they have 10 picks, I believe, somewhere around there. I don't think there's any doubt that, he wants to add young, promising, high ceiling pieces on offense for Jordan, weapons, if you will. But I don't think much changes in the sense of they want to pick their best player available and look at it long term and think of it as far as draft and develop. This year, especially, I wouldn't expect much in the way of free agency. They'll pick things over, especially after this trade gets done. They're going to be maybe not right up against the cap, but they're going to have a lot less cap space to play with. And I just don't see them going out and adding kind of big names in free agency. But we'll see. Joseph, thank you. Really excited to see the locker room dynamic and which players step up to lead the franchise this year. Thanks, 12. Go, Pack, go. That is going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a leadership vacuum, but Aaron Rodgers has been the focal point, right, for so long. There will be kind of an interesting transition to who is the voice, who is the person, or is it people? Are there a bunch of guys who kind of take that mantle? That is something I'm kind of fascinated to watch play out. No question about it. Thomas, thank you for the super chat. You got Love, where the only place he's going to take you is to the toilet bowl, and then you got Rodgers, who will take you to the Super Bowl. I joke. Man, someone needs to find that dude. Where is that dude today? I got to know. Phil, thanks for the super chat. How dare Rodgers forget to mention Super Tecmo Bowl legend Bob Nelson on his list players? Just kidding. Kudos to Tyler on the video he put together. Yes, I did not get a chance to ask Tyler to send it over to me so I could play it here on the chat. But man, if you have not seen it, go to the Cheesehead TV Twitter account. Tyler put up a video essentially capturing the gratitude we feel towards Aaron Rodgers and the excitement we feel about the beginning of the Jordan Love era. It is outstanding work, as usual, from the intern. JJ, thanks for the super chat. I've been ready for this for a year or so, but it still feels weird. In time, I'll have a more appreciative view, but right now it's relief. I think that's totally understandable. I think everybody's going to be processing this pretty individually, right, in their own unique ways and how they relate to the team and to the player. But yeah, I understand that, man. Definitely. Steve, thanks for the super chat. I knew when they let Brett Good walk that the writing was on the wall. Man, I did not have a Brett Good drop on my bingo card for Aaron Rodgers' speech today. No doubt. That was great. And look, I do want to mention something about this. Aaron did say about how the Packers operate, right? And in what he said, in their mind, usually trying to get out a year too early rather than a year too late. And I think that's definitely true. And I do know that the Packers' way of working in that regard has frustrated countless former Packers with the way they go about it. And in the past, more often than not, it has been a very Chinese wall as far as personnel and coaching. The coaching staff obviously works closely with players each and every day. The personnel side of things is very much cut off, very much separate from all those proceedings because of the nature of the gig and the need to be able to be dispassionate and say, all right, we're moving on. But that way of working, that tone really has rubbed multiple players the wrong way. And I know this from speaking to many players about it. And I will admit, 10 years ago when we started Cheesehead TV, or over 10 years ago now, I really was on the Packers side with this. I was like, I totally get it. It's not show friends, it's show business. This is the way it should be done. But I will say, since now become a little bit more involved with the team and knowing some guys who've gone through it and having spoken with them, I have changed my perception about it a little bit. And I do think Aaron had a point a couple summers ago in 2020 when he was talking about the way the Packers operate, the dispassionate way the personnel group operates, and how maybe possibly he could try to be a change agent, for how those conversations happened. All of that said, at the end of the day, the Packers are still going to operate probably that way going forward because they feel it's the best way to let the personnel people do their jobs, which I understand. And look, you can't argue with the fact that they have had a lot of success over the last 20 years, whatever, since Ron Wolf came on board and this personnel side started operating the way they operate. They have won a boatload of football games and they have put together a lot of really talented teams. Now, yes, could you make concessions or arguments about where they could have done other things or tweaked things? Yes, 100%, no question about it. But for the most part, their way of working has been pretty damn successful. So while I understand the misgivings on the player side, I also understand the Packers saying, well, thanks for the advice, but we're going to stick with what works for us. Two sides, always two sides. Sorry for that aside, guys. It's just something that's been bugging me for a while. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. I wonder if Corey is celebrating the news with a brandy old fashioned. In my opinion, I'd put Favre ahead of Rodgers, and Lynn Dickey will have his number retired. I mean, they will retire 12. There's no doubt about it, but it'll obviously be for Aaron. But yes, Lynn Dickey is forever a legend, and no one will ever wear his number again, which is great. As far as Corey, I doubt he's having anything, but I am having a beer. That's Aaron Rodgers. Come on. Crack him open. Carl, thanks for the super chat. I'm excited for Jordan Love, and I wish Aaron Rodgers the best of luck. Looking forward to the seasons of love. I see what you did there. I like it. Christopher, thank you for the super chat. Big fan, usually quiet. Could A-Rod go elsewhere? Well, thanks for the super chat and for chiming in, man. Don't be quiet. Or be quiet if you want to be. That's fine. Could Aaron Rodgers go elsewhere? Highly doubt it. Technically, yes. But that would need another team to swoop in here probably before 4 o'clock Eastern in the next 2 hours and try and upend things as far as the conversation between the Packers and the Jets. But I'm not going to say it's impossible. Stay tuned. I definitely wouldn't take it completely off the table. Jerry, thanks for the super chat. Ready for the Packers to move on, but heart still aches. I was 16 when Rodgers took over, almost 31 now. It's been a blessing to see great football. Tell me about it, man. As someone who watched decades of bad football, I feel you on that one. Matt, thank you for the super chat. Who the hell has the leverage now? Packer Jets. I mean, I think it's obvious both teams want to get a deal done. I would say most likely, like I said a little earlier in the stream, I think that conversation, that, little interview with Aaron Rodgers probably tilts it towards the Packers a little bit, if only because he's stated his desire to move on and to go play for the Jets. Well, the Jets have already started kind of maneuvering, signing Al Lazard, hiring Nathaniel Hackett. They clearly are kind of wanting to land him, but they got to come up with something that makes the Packers ready to move as far as the compensation goes. Because as Mike Florio pointed out this morning, and I hate giving props to Mike Florio, but he's absolutely correct in this regard, the Packers can wait. They have all the time in the world when it comes to the option bonus that will be due later this spring/early summer, they could wait through the draft if they want. The Jets, meanwhile, want to get Rodgers in the building. They want to get him not only for the, pomp and circumstance and to have him up there with his jersey and press conference with the owner and all that stuff, but just getting in the building and start working on the offense, working with his new guys and getting to know the program and all that stuff. They want him in sooner rather than later. So, and I don't think this is a ton of leverage, but I do think it gives the Packers a little bit, just a little bit. What else we got? We got Quinn. Thanks to the super chat. Excited to see a true LaFleur offense this year. As am I, Quinn, if only to see what that actually is. We don't really know. I'm excited. Jesse, thank you for the super chat. It's likely not practical, but wouldn't the Packers save a lot of cap space if 12 was traded after June 1st? They would, but I can't imagine the Jets would be amiable to that. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Star, Favre, Dickey, Mikowski, Rodgers, or Love, quarterback, are temporary, but the green and gold is forever. Well, Raji is forever as well. You got that right, Dustin. So I always say, man, everyone in that building is transitory. Packers fans are forever. It doesn't matter who's running the team. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Packers fans love the Packers. We love the team, the franchise, the history, all of it. Everybody else involved, they are stewards of the Green Bay Packers. And I'll cheer for them. I'll root for them 100% with all my heart and soul. But I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, first and foremost. Curly, thanks for the super chat. Going to be an interesting game of GM chicken. It most certainly is, Curly, and I think it's going to play out here in the next few hours. Accidental Hero, thanks for the super chat, man. Good to see you. Thanks for going live. When do we find out the compensation? Seems Green Bay has major leverage, or you think the deal's done? I don't think the deal is done at all, and I think we'll hopefully find out in the next couple hours. Jake, thanks for the super chat. Do you think it was interesting that Rodgers wanted time to make his decision, but was peeved that the Packers needed time to make theirs? I think interesting is a good word for it. Yes. Jano, thanks for the super chat. Do you think Love will play most of the preseason? There we go. Now, these are some football questions. Here we go. I suspect he'll play a bit more than Rodgers has in the past few years. I think it's a line to walk. I know basically, as a, philosophy, Matt and company don't want to play any of their frontline guys. They feel they can get all the work they need done in the practices and in the training camp. So, I think there's a possibility he plays a little bit more than Aaron, but I don't think it'll be a ton. But we'll see. We shall see. Sean, thank you for the super chat. Love will tear the Bears apart again. Now that's outstanding. John says Love isn't ready. That was clear seeing him play last year. John, I would posit you don't know what you're looking at. Cheers. Mike, thanks for the super chat. I'm so excited for Jordan Love. I want that kid to succeed so fucking bad. I will never tolerate the Jordan Love slander. Look, I understand. Like John saying he's not ready. I totally get that. That's fair criticism. But the people who say, oh, he sucks and he's always going to suck and he's never going to be anything, blah, 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 that's where I tune out. Like, that's slander. Smooterino, thanks for the super chat. Surprised you said that Love has looked really good. Some of your local media colleagues have said his training camps have been, at best, mediocre. Until last summer, yeah. Listen to what I say. Don't generalize. His first training camp was rough. Now, there's no doubt about it. But you also have to remember, that was, 12 days coming out of or in the pandemic without an off-season program? Yeah, he looked rough. That second year, still rough, no question. But you saw the development. Then last summer, he looked good. He looked very good last summer. Like, rise and fire, let it rip. And then you saw him come in against the Eagles. Look good there. That's called progression. That's a good thing. CBM, thanks to the super chat. His side of the story seemed a bit self-contradictory. Complicated fella? No, I'm glad you asked that. Because I had someone in my mentions the other day talking about how I am all over the map. What it was contradictory. People can hold more than one thought in their head. And the moment they express that, people say, "Oh, you're contradicting yourself, or you're, a hypocrite, or whatever." It's like I don't know. I didn't find anything he said self-contradictory. He can be grateful. He can be full of gratitude for the organization and love the people that he's been with and the time he spent in Green Bay and have nothing but love for the fans and the teammates and the general managers, etc., and still feel frustrated and somewhat aggrieved at how this process has played out. I think that's totally fair. You can have both of those thoughts in your head and both of those feelings in your heart. That's fine. We're all human. We're all capable of that. Some of us endeavor in it a little bit more than others, but I just don't think that's crazy. Soder, thanks for the super chat. Dickie also wore 10, foreshadowing. Hey. What a pull. That's amazing. Well done. Philip, thank you for the super chat. He loved the G so much, wore his number in high school. You wore his number in high school? That's pretty dope if you did. Matt, thanks for the super chat. Do you think Aaron did Green Bay one last favor and helped them gain as much leverage as they could in the trade by going about this the way he did? I don't know. I did have that thought during the kind of stream with McAfee because it is kind of, okay, well, now we know that you are ready to play and you want to go and play with the Jets, but you didn't need to come on and do this. So I did find that interesting. Patrick, thanks for the super chat. What do you think the trade ends up being? Man, I have no idea. My name is Paul. This shit's between y'all. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a second rounder. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a third round and a first next year. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a ham sandwich. I won't be surprised. Tyler, thanks for the super chat. I may cry knowing the right Aaron gets the ball now in crunch time. Oh, man. Aaron Jones about to be unleashed. We can only hope, man. We can only hope. Vex, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Good riddance to this he said, she said BS. Rodgers loves to participate. Sure talked out of both sides of his mouth. I don't know, man. I just can't get on board with that. Irving, thanks for the super chat. Does 12 realize that it gets cold in January in New York too? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's aware of that. Chris, thanks for the super chat. Normalize McMahon winning as many Super Bowls with Green Bay as Chicago. Same amount of rings, baby. Same amount of rings. Eric, thanks to the super chat. Whether intentional or not, it's pretty fortunate for Green Bay that 12 was 90% on retirement and then wanting to move on sort of fired him up to come back. Totally agree. Maybe that was the Packers' plan all along. Ayahuasca, thanks to the super chat. God, I love Aaron Rodgers. Going to miss him. That being said, Rodgers' complaint of Packers not treating players right out the door, common across the league, or I think across the league, that's a really good question, man. I think across the league, I would suspect, and from my experience, limited though it is, from covering the league, it sure seems like other franchises and other organizations do a little bit more and bend a little bit more and are a little bit more accommodating, especially to the star players, than the Packers have been and are. So I do think, yes, it is a business and it is a cold business. The guys get cut all the time and guys are, replaced or what have you. That's very common within the league. No question about it. That does happen in every NFL city. But I do think the Packers are a little more strident than everywhere else. Just a little. Cheeto, what's up, man? Excited for the Packers versus Jets Super Bowl. No, I'm not delusional. Everyone else is. Heard it here first. Cheeto on the case. I love it. And how are you? Thanks for the super chat. Weirdly, I feel freed. Can't wait for next season. I'm with you. Totally with you, Ann. Spiked. Thanks for the super chat. I take a lot of what Aaron Rodgers said with a grain of salt. He's so clever and calculated with his words. McAfee Show is more PR firm than news outlet for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, somewhat, and that's fine. They've certainly kind of gone down that road as far as their rapport, right? And I do think, Pat was talking before Aaron came on that they're not friends. They are certainly friendly, but they don't hang out together. He's not in the, quote, inner circle, especially not the way AJ is. And that's fine. But, that's his outlet to say what he wants to say and get it out, his version of events out into the world. And nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually good. And look, for such a long time, we all, as sports fans and NFL fans, craved information about our favorite players. And now with the internet age and things like YouTube and what have you, they have free access to an ability to get their version of events out into the world. And that's great. But to your point, yeah, it's always good to take it all with a little grain of salt because there are many sides to things. Accidental, thanks again, man. Grateful to 12, but not sad. Is that because I'm old? The 70s and 80s were sad. I remember Jerry Tagg, Judge Perrins, John Hadel, etc. Life is beautiful. Judge Perrins. What a pull. Right there with you, man. Mr. Inglewood, thank you for the super chat. JF1, best QB in the North now. Justin Fields. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, numbers-wise, you got to go with Kirk Cousins. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Chris, thanks for the super chat. Before we get on Twitter and pick sides against either Rodgers or Good, etc., can we all just appreciate the last 25 years as Packers fans? It's J-Love time. Go, Pack, go. Here we go, Chris. I'm going to say something even more controversial. You don't need to pick sides. Did I just blow your mind? Curly, thanks for the super chat. 12 went less scorched earth than expected. Kudos. I will admit, Curly, when he said, okay, I want to riff for whatever he said to Pat, and Pat was like, the floor is yours. And then he said, back in 2020, they draft Jordan Love to replace me. I thought, oh, boy, here we go. I thought for sure he was going to burn it all down. But to your point, he did not. Much less scorched earth, much more love and gratitude. And I'm very thankful for that. Sean, thanks. How big a loss is Jerron Reed? There we go. More football. There we go. Not a significant one. It's certainly a depth loss, and they're going to have to bolster that probably through the draft, but maybe through free agency. But it also lets you know, because, obviously Dean Lowry is becoming a free agent here in a couple hours. Reed now is signed with somebody else. There's no doubt they need rotational players. But, man, Devontae Wyatt is ready to step up and play a whole hell of a lot more, as is TJ Slayton. But, again, yeah, they're going to need depth guys. Zero question about it. Robin, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. So what now? Beer? I'll tell you what, Robin, I'm going to go home and have some of that scotch you gave me. That's where I'm headed. Curly, thanks again, man. Luke Fickle, Saturdays, Jordan Love, Sundays. Let's fucking go. Hey, that has a good ring to it. I like it. William, thank you for the super chat. Thank God we can listen to you instead of Peter Bukowski. His personality fits the Vikings better. Come on, man. Look, we got enough problems in this world. People arguing about Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, the Packers, Gutekunst, Mark Murphy, etc. You don't need to start beefs with the media folk. Look, people, there are plenty of different ways for you to come to the Packers, right? To utilize whatever time you want here online to connect with Packers fans and people who cover the team, etc. Man, if Bukowski isn't for you, don't deal with Bukowski. Keep scrolling. Don't go to his page. It's real easy. But I know for a fact there is a significant portion of Packers fans who consume his content for whatever reason. So, people who like it and want to, great. People who don't, you don't have to. It's that simple. Zach, thanks for the super chat. Do you think the NFC Championship meltdown against Seattle broke 12 and led him to the hero ball we've witnessed recently? No, I think it's very, very much way more complex than that, and for any amount of time I have left. Today's, thanks to the super chat. Gary V is liking my tweets about when accurate Aaron NFT, Nagler, or Gary for the first guest appearance on Hype TV. Go Pack Go, you rock, Nags. Thank you so much. I've actually done one video with Gary. Was it last year or 2 years ago? He had some kind of deal with DraftKings, and I was there when, I think it was 2 years ago, when the Packers were playing the Steelers. So I've met him online, etc. I would love to do something with him. It'd be a lot of fun. Matt, thanks for the super chat. Did the Packers tip their hand too much, thus may receive less compensation? I don't know if the Packers tipped their hand. Aaron Rodgers just said live into a microphone for the world to see, 500,000 people watching it live, that he's decided, yes, he wants to play again, and his intention is to play for the New York Jets, not the Green Bay Packers. So now the Jets got to make that happen. So I'm not so sure the Packers are the ones who tipped their hands. Joseph, thanks for the super chat. How many yards is Nixon getting with all 17 games? 1,352. About right. Tom, you're going to be the last one. Thank you for the super chat. What should the Packers be looking for from Jordan Love to earn another contract? People forget Rodgers went 6-10 his first year as a starter. That is correct. Not only did he go 6-10, although wins and losses are quarterback stats, the team went 6-10, but he was signed halfway through that year to his extension, his first extension. Aha. A lot of people don't remember that. I suspect if they look, they probably give Jordan half the season, 5-8 games, something like that. And if they see a guy who's in command of the offense, doesn't look too big for him, isn't flustered in the big moments, clearly taking whatever coaching he's being given, learning from mistakes, growing within the game. Yeah, I think there's a good chance they give him an extension during the season. Now, that said, that's going to be well after the May 1st deadline to, pull the trigger on its fifth-year option, which at this point I think is a foregone conclusion. Curly, you're the last one. Who has the more what ifs, 4 or 12 NFC Championship game pain? Oh, it's got to be 12. It's got to be 12. I mean, there were heartbreak with Brett, no question about it. But man, the feeling of butting your head against the wall is what I'm going to remember most about a good stretch of especially the latter years with 12. No doubt about it. All right, everybody, I got to get going. I will be back in a few hours. I'll be back for Packers Daily at the normal time at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, please do me a monster favor and hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends, tell your family, Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you in a few hours. Go Pack Go.